Hi everybody, and it's Dandy with your news Cartridge for Thursday, September 3rd, 2015. And up first, we have another computer story for you, but don't worry, console players, this one's really cool. I think you guys might be interested in this too. But ASUS has released a laptop that is completely liquid cooled. Yes, that is absolutely right. It is called the GX700, and as Lamar in GTA 5 put it, she got ass. This is the most noted feature of it is the giant protrusion coming out the back, which contains the water pump and radiator, which will cool both the GPU and CPU. Speaking of which, inside there will be an Intel 6820 HK, which is a quad core presumably, with a base clock of 2.7 gigahertz, a boost clock of 3.6 gigahertz, and on Intel's Skylake architecture. The GPU I find the most interesting because it is a currently unreleased GTX NVIDIA graphics card, which the most powerful single mobile GPU I know of is the GTX 980M. Now, this actually reports to have better specs than that. So 990M, I don't know what they're calling it. It has not been released. Because of the Skylake processor, though, I'm going to guess that this actually is featuring DDR4 RAM, but there's nothing. I don't have any information exactly confirming that. The good news about this is that the water cooling is actually not mandatory at all. You can detach it and use it without it, and it'll be just fine. But ASUS says that you will see a 80% performance increase with the unit attached. So almost twice the performance from this. How much is this glorious machine? Well, there are no pricing to this as yet, but I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark and say that this thing's gonna cost over $3,000 US. You want a good gaming laptop? They're not cheap, and the more bells and whistles, the crazier it looks, the crazier it is, the more it's gonna be. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to the $4,000 range. People who want expensive laptops are willing to pay expensive prices. So when I have more information on this one, I will have it for you. Next on our list of stories today, the interim patch for Batman Arkham Knight was supposed to drop by August. And if you couldn't tell, it's September. They're late. They really haven't commented much on this other than that this patch was going to come out, but some users have actually reported that they have actually downloaded and had this patch install. And while they were using the new patch, they were to get performance increased completely, but a second patch was issued completely reversing the first patch. Well, anyway, users reported that the frame rate issues were practically non-existent, achieving 60 FPS even while on ultra settings. That's what we wanted, WB, by the way. But the reason that WB backtracked on this patch is probably because it got leaked. It was released early. It's not ready. And WB knows that if this game is not perfect when this launch comes out, we will have our pitchforks ready and we will have their ass. You better be warned, WB. It better be perfect. We are expecting perfection. The largest retailer of online video games, Steam, has had a long history of not allowing any games with nudity of any kind in it, and if there was nudity, they would have to be censored, but generally there were workarounds, there were different patches, things that you could do to re-add the nudity back into games if you so desire. But they're trying something different with a new game, Kindred Spirits on the Roof. And while I personally think that is just an awful name for a game, but hey, boobies, right? The game will be released completely uncensored, and I think this is a great move for Steam as it will attract a more mature audience and will allow for less restriction in the future on games. Now, this actually is a game about two lesbians who fall in love and die, but their spirits are connected to a high school and they must reunite in the name of true love. Why? Because Japan. And this is also the clean version of the story. Go look it up yourself. That's the clean version. There's a dirty version. If the dev wants to include nudity or other things, say drug use or other questionable things, I'm not really sure. There's a laundry list of them with a purpose. Then I do believe that they should be able to, and I think that that's a great thing. However, there's also people like Konami that just don't care and sexy up a game just for no other reason than to push sales. I think both of these games have the right to exist, but fuck Konami. And finally for today, the most sold PC game in history, Minecraft, has had an update, and the list of changes include rebalancing armor, changing the damage and protection enhancements based on the balance of armor, bug and UI fixes, fixes with fishing rods, I guess they weren't working right and weren't catching things. They added collision for players, which I believe is a huge thing. They made Enderman creepy again, and the world may corrupt less times now, or slightly more, we're not sure. I like hugs, and finally, Whoop. Yeah, I'm reading that right. Only the most important thing from Mojang. Yeah, that's right. So the collision, I think, is the most important thing, or at least one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most, because before players would just clip through each other, or just pass through each other. Sorry, that's what clipping means, is to pass through in terms of programming. So it would just act as though they weren't there. This is really nice in my opinion. And for a full list of changes, please see the description down below. And what do you think of this update? Do you like hugs? Because I do. Leave your comment below. On to tomorrow's game releases. For PC, we have Wild Island Quest, Rugby World Cup 2015, Rubber and Lead, Game Corp DX, Dungeon Up, and Snick. For PS4, we have Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse. For Xbox One, we have Super Toy Cars and Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been News Cartridge. I am Dandruff. I will see you tomorrow. And the other day, I walked up with my wife and asked her if she was sitting on my F5 key, because her ass is refreshing.